And I'm gonna turn it over to Greg.
Thank you, Chris. Hi, everybody. My name is Greg Palazzo, and I'm with Aflac, as aforementioned. I was asked by your HR team to come in and do this webinar to go over the 3 products that we currently have with you, to kind of get a little bit more in depth, to let you know what they're really for, and to get into some of the plan designs and features that might be interesting to you, including pricing. These will be available to you, obviously, during your open enrollment, but we thought this was nice to get into the weeds a little bit with these products so you're more educated about it. First and foremost with everybody, I just wanted to actually kind of set the tone for what these products are a vehicle for. These products are really to help take away or help against some of that out-of-pocket costs that you have that medical doesn't cover, things like co-pays and deductibles. It's very important to note that the dollars, the benefits that come to you come directly to you. They don't go to the hospital. They don't go to a provider or doctor. They actually come direct to you. So they're yours to do with as you choose. Obviously, the initial intent is to help detract from out-of-pocket costs. So without a delay, I will get kind of right into it. The first product that we have out there is accident. And you have 2 different accident plans. One's a high plan, one is a low plan. Simply just means one's a little bit richer benefits, has a little bit richer benefits than the next, and obviously comes at a different price point. So when you're looking at these, the high and the low on this accident plan, obviously look at your paycheck and or your wallet and what you can afford, the affordability factor. Both plans are good and will be a good vehicle for you to help detract from out-of-pocket costs. But again, one is a little bit richer than the other. So starting off here, now just to be clear, on the right here in this box, you'll see urgent care, surgery, ambulance. Those are the main pillars of the accident product. There are numerous other pieces and payable benefits within the accident plan, some of which I'll talk about. You will, during your enrollment, be able to actually see a full brochure that'll show you all the pieces that make up the accident plan. These are what I would call the higher or harder hitting points. So let's just get going here. First off, on the feature side on the left here, it's 24-hour coverage on or off the job. So whether you have an accident at work or have an accident outside of work, these benefits are all available to you. Indemnity-based just means that there's no co-pays or any type of deductible piece of this at all. It's straight dollars that come to you. Again, like I said, there's well more than what's on this screen from a what's included standpoint. Guarantee issue simply means you don't have to answer any medical questions. You sign up and you get this coverage, and that would be for you or your family, depending on which tier you select. I highlighted in red the wellness benefit because that's something that your team wanted to reiterate. It's often kind of forgotten about, but it shouldn't be. So wellness benefit, it basically pays $25 per family member per year. So that's if you had family coverage. If it's just you, obviously it would be $25 for just you. I have a piece at the very end that will show all the wellness and tests rather that are covered for this, but it simply means that for you going to get your normal regular checkup, like a physical or getting a mammogram, PSA test, getting your triglycerides checked, you can actually file, and within 3 days, you'll have a $25 sent to you from Aflac. And that's our way of actually trying to have more of a preventative maintenance for you. So there's an incentive there for that. On the right-hand side, and obviously you can't escape the lower left corner with the pricings. Those are monthly, as it says there. But on the right-hand side, just to give you kind of the lay of the land of these the more bigger components of this plan. Going to the emergency room or going to an urgent care, this plan will pay you $200 straight to you. If you have an inpatient surgery as a result of, remember, everything with accident is as a result of an accident that you've had. So if you have, as a result of an accident, need to have surgery, this plan will pay you $2,000. If you have to take an ambulance ride, unfortunately, that would pay you $400. And you can see with fractures and dislocations, that's from hand to neck to hip to broken fibula, any bone in the body. And there's a menu for that as well, but it'll pay up to $4,000. This plan also has a hospital admission and confinement benefit. So if as a result of your accident, you wind up getting admitted to the hospital, that'll pay you $2,000. And for every day thereafter that you're actually in the hospital, you'll get a subsequent $250 per day. So that's a very valuable benefit. Accidents in nature, a lot of times they have you wind up at the hospital, unfortunately, but that's a big ticket item and will take away a lot of those out-of-pocket costs for you. Physical therapy, I thought was important to put on here because there's always a follow-up from some doctor, correct, or some issue that you have. So that actually will pay up to 10 visits at $50 a visit. We also have in here an organized athletic benefit. So just to give you a frame of reference, if your child is playing in a soccer league or football league or baseball or whatever, if it's an organized athletic event, it's not just shooting baskets out in the yard, but if it's an organized athletic event, and let's just say they got a concussion from a soccer ball hitting them too hard in the head, that would pay an additional 15% on top of there. Now, it's important to note, too, we will be, after each of these products, we'll stop for a moment or two and let you ask questions. I know the chat's available, too. Natalie and Chris are helping me kind of gather those. I will go back to the lower left corner and show you your rates, employee spouse, employee plus child, and then, of course, family.
Greg,
So those, again, yeah, go
Greg,
ahead.
let me just jump in for a moment. So you
Please.
guys, you can put the questions in the chat, or you can use the question and answer and we'll answer them, or Greg will pause and ask questions as well.
Great. Thank you very much. So on the rate piece, again, as it shows there, this is monthly. I think you'll find it quite affordable. And to be honest with you, the bang for the buck from the benefits that are encapsulated in the accident plan, it's a very solid pricing for what you get. I'm going to go to the low plan, which is the same exact mechanism, just has a little different, lower, little bit lower benefits per category. So as you'll see, urgent care, instead of being at $200, $250, is now down to $150. Surgery from $2,000 goes down to $1,000. Ambulance from $400 goes to $300. And the fracture is $4,000 down to $2,000. But at the end of the day, you still have the wellness benefit that is $25. That's for high or low plan. So all the same features are in here. They're just at a lower dollar point. But the value is still there. And as you can see, the pricing goes down significantly. So this is something I would think if you're looking at this, have interest in it. Both of them have teeth from a what you get for it standpoint and coverage standpoint. It's just a matter of what you think you can afford. And, that's if you find value in the plan. So I'll stop here from an accident perspective and see if there's any questions.
There are. So the first question, Natalie, do you want to go ahead and answer that for Tammy?
We'll let Greg answer. It goes over more of the hospital, so I figured we could wait till
Yeah, okay, so the question, Greg, was if I go in for a scheduled procedure and something goes wrong, does my Aflac cover hospitalization?
Well, if you're going in for a scheduled procedure, so it's important, and that's a good question. It's important to note on accident, the actual word itself is what this plan is actually circulates around. So you actually have to have an accident. That could be a car accident. That could be a sports related injury. So when you say the word scheduled would be different than an accident. So if the question at hand is actually, if I'm in there, if I have to go to the hospital as a result of an accident, would it cover a hospital stay or admission? The answer is yes, but it would have to be the result of an accident. It could not be, give you a frame of reference. If I was going in to get, let's say, back surgery or something that I scheduled ahead of time that was not the result of an accident, it was just wear and tear, that would not be covered. So that's very important to note. It's a great question. These are specifically for accidents that happen, which are numerous, of course, but the scheduled piece is where I want to make sure I differentiate that from an actual accident, like where you break your leg or something of that nature, tear your ACL, that would be considered an accident. I hope that answered the question.
Okay, and then it was mentioned that the benefit amount is payable due to accident. If I go to an emergency room due to an illness, would the benefit of $200 still apply?
Yes, it would.
Okay, and then would a slip and fall at home be considered an accident?
Absolutely.
Is the rate per month or okay, so the rates that he posted were per month. We take them out biweekly.
Yeah,
And
that's what I put on here, and I thought about putting on the paycheck rate, and I did not. So if everybody can bear with me on that, I'd appreciate it. But yes, that's they are in monthly.
and then is a slip and fall at home considered an accident?
Yeah, absolutely. A slip and fall at home would be considered an accident. In
And
the
that was all the
driveway,
questions.
slip and fall at home, slip and fall at work. Accident's a broad term. And actually that's the way we treat it to a pretty good extent. Any others?
That was all in the question and answer.
Okay, great. Well,
Oh,
then,
wait, I'm sorry.
oh yeah, go ahead.
Illness is covered under this accident policy. If I get a CT scan from urgent care,
Well, illness is not covered under the accident. So that would be it's accidents only. So if you come down with God forbid, a dreaded disease, an illness where it led to a CT scan, that would not be payable. So it would have to be that slip and fall, that car accident, that broken leg on the soccer field or at work or wherever. An illness would not cover that. Now, that being said, there is another product in here called critical illness. And there's also hospital indemnity that may actually help solidify for you as far as what you're asking about with regards to that specific item. I don't know if
okay,
that answered the question.
we
Go
have
ahead.
another one kind of circling back. What if I have day surgery and I end up in the hospital? And then to clarify, I was expecting to go home, but something went wrong.
Would have to be the result of an accident. So that's that may be something I have to take back, to be honest with you, because when you get into the world of accident versus non-accident, meaning you went into the hospital, get a surgery and something went wrong, that's something I'll actually have to come back to the HR team to answer fully. My gut instinct is that actually that would not be considered an accident. However, I will get back to you on that.
All right. And Tammy, I will get back to you when Greg gets back to me.
Sorry, Tammy, we'll get it for you though.
And there was another question that I answered. I just wanted to say the answer out loud for everybody, navigating away from accident. But the question was, if somebody is retiring next year, does the Aflac plan and payroll deductions end? And if so, am I able to re-sign up on the retiree insurance plan? So once you retire, your Aflac benefits will end either at the end of the pay period or the last day of the month, depending on whether or not you sign up for retiree health insurance. And then you can continue the Aflac plan on your own. You have the option to port that over to a personal policy once you retire. And maybe, Greg, you could touch on that either now or later.
The portability piece is absolutely spot on accurate, which I believe is the only aspect of that encapsulates Aflac. The rest of it, I think, is you talking about the retirement procedure, unless I missed that, Natalie.
No, that's correct.
You can take these policies with you. I probably should have started with that at the top. These are portable, which simply means you can take it with you. You fill out a form when you're leaving work, whether that's retirement or you're going to another off to another job or not working at all. You can take these coverages with you and you'll get billed at home. Direct billing. Okay. So without further ado, we'll move on to the next item up for bid. So this product's called critical illness. Again, designed to help you kind of help with the out-of-pocket costs that major medical won't cover. You'll be able to select $10,000 or $20,000 in coverage. That if you have one of these items, like on the right-hand side, and there's numerous others that I can go through. But if you happen to, I'll just use the garden variety. If you get diagnosed if you have a heart attack and you selected $20,000 at open enrollment, $20,000 is what's going to be payable to you. If you select 10, that's what will be payable to you. You can have, as you can see below. Actually, I didn't put it in there, but it's single coverage, employee plus one, and also family coverage you can get. So you can cover the whole family. And if you select 10K, they are all covered for 10K individually. If you select 20, that would be the same thing. Again, in red, the annual health screening benefit. So again, going back to what I talked about with accident, this pays $75 for you to go in, get a mammogram, pap smear, PSA test, triglycerides. There's numerous items, which I will bring up at the end. I have a whole one pager that will show you all the different pieces that are covered for that health screening and wellness, those health screenings and wellness benefits. This will pay more than once. So if you have a recurrence, if it happens again, so it's not just one and done. It's guarantee issue. We don't ask any medical questions at open enrollment. So you sign up for the 10 or 20 and you get it. What we've put in here is a little bit unique from the garden variety critical illness plan. We have childhood conditions covered. So amongst the items on the right-hand side, cancer, heart attack, stroke, so forth and so on, we also have other benefits included. We have Alzheimer's, and I'm reading from my wall here a little bit because there's such a big menu. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, ALS, MS, sickle cell, meningitis. There's a coronavirus benefit. But as far as the child conditions, which is a little unique, we've kind of put that in there to add to this, but Down syndrome, spinal bifida, CP, cystic fibrosis, type 1 diabetes, and there are a couple more in there as well, including autism. So what you have here really is a lump sum payout if you happen to wind up, unfortunately, getting diagnosed with invasive cancer, having a heart attack, a benign brain tumor. All these things aren't fun to talk about, but they're less fun to talk about when you have them. And then you also have to pay out-of-pocket expenses. So this is actually, you'll see too on the lower left, I did some, to put all the pricing on this screen with all the different age brackets would be it wouldn't leave much room for anything else. So what I did was I put, again, this is monthly, not paycheck, but ages 25 to 29, $3.30, $5.25 for 40 to 44, and 50 to 54 is $10.56. When you go to enroll, you'll see the price on there for you and or your family if you select family coverage. But I wanted to give you kind of a sampling of what these prices would be for purposes of this call. So for $10,000 in coverage, I'm 51, hate to admit it, but I would, if I signed up for 10,000 in coverage, it would cost me monthly. It would cost me, just myself, $10.56 a month out of my monthly paycheck, if you will.
Greg, I also wanted to clarify that our rates are based on whether or not you are a tobacco user. So these would be the non-tobacco rates.
Yeah.
And I am going to throw out the link to our webpage that lists all the rates. So for that person who wanted the rates for 30 to 39, you can just.
No, it's a good point. Yeah. So thank you, Natalie. So there are, we call them smoker, non-smoker, or tobacco, non-tobacco rates. That really is, it's somewhat of an honor code system. But it's the specifics. If you're a non-smoker, rates are going to be better. If you're a smoker or tobacco user, it's going to be more expensive. The rates that you see on screen are for non-tobacco users. It is also important to note, I don't want anybody coming back at me later, but these are age banded rates, which means that every 5 years you will enter, like here, once I hit 55, I will go into the 50 to 54 age bracket, which will cost me more. So it goes up every 5 years. The prices are very affordable still, but I wanted everybody to understand that.
We have some questions too. Would you please go over the pre-existing fine print for the critical illness rules?
Yeah, so what we have on here is it's a 12-12 pre-existing condition. So anything prior, when you sign up 12 months prior that you currently have would not be payable. And you'd have to be treatment free. And that could be maintenance drugs as well that are helping you with that current situation. So it's basically a 12-month look back.
Okay, then another question is, what if you already have one of these diagnoses before you sign up? Example, MS.
Yeah, so if you have it currently, if unfortunately, if you currently have that, that would be considered a pre-existing condition. Hopefully that answered the question.
And that was all the questions right now.
Okay. All right. Some of the other items on there, you see on the right hand of the screen, but I went through Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, ALS, coronary bypass, coma, paralysis. It's really very encompassing. It's very valuable. And to be honest, a lump sum payout when you have one of these items or situations happening is a big help. And again, it comes direct to you, and you can get your own coverage and your family coverage. I will move on from critical illness.
Okay, one more question, Greg. What if
Yeah,
you
go
have
ahead.
heart issues?
Well, if you have heart issues and you're on maintenance drugs or actually seeing the doctor for those heart related issues, that would be considered pre-existing.
Okay.
Okay. All right, moving forward. So that was critical illness. Now we get into the hospital indemnity plan. So on your accident, you have a hospital feature on there. Somebody did ask a question about that for hospital admission and confinement. Now that was just specifically for accidents. So that slip and fall at home that somebody referenced. Hospital indemnity here actually pays for this actually pays for admission, whether it's an accident or whether it's actually an illness that pops up, or whatever gets you to the hospital. So this is more encompassing. It's not just the accident side. It's 24-hour. If you get admitted to the hospital, you're covered for this. So you'll see on the right, and this, unlike the other two products, hospital indemnity does not have a lot of moving parts. It's pretty straightforward. So you'll see hospital admission. Again, this is a high-low. So there's a high. This is what's represented here. Then there's the low, which is essentially cutting these benefits in half, which I certainly will show you. But if you get admitted to the hospital for an accident or sickness, as you see in that first bullet point, it'll put out $1,000 for that just being admitted to the hospital. Now, for every day, just like the accident hospital component, for every day you're confined or stay at the hospital, you'll get $200 per day. So if you really think about it, if you have a 3-day stay at the hospital, you're going to have $1,600 coming to you, 3 times the 200 and $1,000 for the actual admission. So you can start seeing how these benefits pile up and will help you really detract from your out-of-pocket costs. There's an intensive care unit here, unit piece here. So if you actually wind up, it's kind of like a step up in care. So if you're in a regular hospital, confined to a regular hospital bed, it's $200 per day. If that unfortunately takes you to where you're in the ICU, we recognize that that's also more cost. That's why this component came about. That increases to $800 per day. So you could start really seeing how this works out. There's also an observation benefit on here. So you could actually go into the ER and they're having you sit there. Some of us have had to do this, including myself, where you're not necessarily admitted, but you're in the observation room at the ER, and we actually have a benefit on there for you as well. So it's $100 per 24-hour period. So believe it or not, you could spend 24 hours in the hospital and not be technically admitted. So that's what that is there. So that's kind of your release valve for when you're not technically admitted. And then the benefits below, or rather the pricing is right there below. Again, monthly, I apologize for not putting on the payroll cycle or paycheck cycle. But those are the prices right there. Again, 4 tiers. You can get it for yourself or your entire family. And I want to make sure I bring up the wellness benefit piece. This has a $25 wellness benefit, and this is for the high and or the low plan, which, even though we're going to have questions, I'm going to skip to the low just so people can see that, because they're all the same components, just different numeric values next to them. So on the low plan, hospital admissions cut in half. So is the confinement. So is the ICU. And in fact, everything's cut in half. So, but you will see at the bottom left, the wellness benefit, whether high or low, is still $25 per family member if you have family coverage, or if you're single, it would be $25 for you. Again, guarantee issue, no medical questions asked, no pre-existing condition limitation. And the pricing is actually for the low plan is showing right here below. So this, I'm assuming I would have plenty of questions on this one.
So far, well, okay, so one question we have is how does someone file a claim? Are you going to talk about that next?
Yeah, no, I've got that as the last slide, which it is important. Maybe I should put that at the front from now on, especially in existing groups. So I'll think about that for next time. But if
Okay,
there's
well,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
there's another one. If your spouse is not on your county health plan for insurance, can you still add them just for Aflac?
Yeah, to be
And
very clear with everybody, and I probably could have done a better job, but to be very clear, this has literally nothing to do with your medical carrier medical plan. It's designed to help detract from the out-of-pocket costs that your medical plan doesn't cover, but this is solely yours. So in that scenario, that question posed, it doesn't matter where your spouse is working or if they have their own medical plan, has nothing to do with that. This is strictly between you and your family and Aflac. So yeah, so you're not there's no ties to anything else. So you're in that scenario, yes, your husband will be totally coverable. There's no subtraction or subrogation or coordination of benefits with the medical carrier. These are all straight dollars paid to you as an individual. Hopefully that answered the question fully.
okay, and then can you go into more detail about how this plan covers pregnancy?
Yeah, so as you'll see there in the second or third bullet point, I think it's second, there's no pre-existing condition limitation on this, which includes pregnancy. So you'll see though, as long as birth is after the effective date. So it shouldn't happen at midnight. Let's put it that way. Hopefully that
Okay.
answered that question.
How do the wellness claims work if you have all three plans?
That's a great question. They're all separate of each other. So there's no coordination of benefits as we consider it. These are each separate. They're not, obviously we're selling it as a package, if you will, but they're really all three separately siloed products. Now, when you call in, if you have that slip and fall at home and calling in on an accident claim, our claims folks will check to see if you have any other coverages with us and see if there's any other applicable benefits payable to you. But effectively, other than that, these are all separate. So you could technically get $25 if you had all three. You get $25 on the wellness for accident, $75 for the critical illness, and $25 for the hospital indemnity. So we don't differentiate. We do differentiate between the three products. So it's all available to you.
Okay. And then do you and all of your dependents get the wellness payout for all three plans?
Correct. They do.
Okay. And then higher level doubles the payouts, but cost is triple? I don't know if that's really a question.
Well, I don't see them as being triple here. And now I've been questioned on my math skills in the past, and that's certainly a fair thing that people have asked me in the past, including here. But it looks more actually to be a little slightly less than double. So I'm going between both sides here, the high and the low plan. So 1354 on the high turns into 760. And the real glaring one to kind of show that is 3516 on the family. And then on the low is 2012. So I don't personally see the doubling. Maybe I didn't speak to it as well as I should have, but or the tripling I don't see. Hopefully that answered that question, or I was able to show that was show it for what it is, which is not tripling.
Okay. And then if you have an illness and are under a doctor's care, but not in the hospital, which plan would you file a claim under?
Be the hospital indemnity plan.
If she's not in the hospital? So the question,
I thought that was leading to somebody actually going into the hospital. I'm sorry. If they were not in the hospital, but then were at one point were in the hospital. So say that one more time to me, Chris.
Okay. If you have an illness and are under a doctor's care, but not in the hospital, which plan would you file a claim under?
So if you're ill, so that takes out the accident piece because it's accident based. If you're not in the hospital, that takes out the hospital piece because you are not in the hospital. So it really leaves the critical illness. So that illness that you have currently would have to actually fall under the benefits or the different covered features on the critical illness plan, like the cancer, the heart attack, the stroke, the organ transplant, so forth and so on. So unless it's one of those items, now there's literally 30 different situations or conditions covered under critical illness. But it would have to be one of those. So if that illness, so the accident and the hospital indemnity would not be there just for an illness because you're not admitted to the hospital and it wasn't the result of an accident, it's an illness. So then it leaves the critical illness, which would mean your illness that you have at hand would have to be one of the ones covered under critical illness. And if it's not, then it would not be payable. Hopefully that answered the question.
But critical illness does not cover pre-existing.
Correct.
Okay. And that was all for right now, except for the claims question. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I was told that minors do not get the wellness payout and my spouse did not get the wellness payment. Was maxed out with 25, 25, and 75.
All right. So the wellness, it's important to note the wellness payment is one time per year per family member. So if you have 4 family members and you have family coverage on any of these, and let's just say it's accident coverage, or let's use critical illness, for example, that would be $75 for the child, for the husband, for the other child, and for the employee. So I don't know if you had a situation where you didn't get paid that, then that's something you need to bring to HR. They'll bring it to me and I'll hunt that down. My question would be back to you, and I don't know if this is the forum. We could certainly talk after class, if you will, but my question would be, was this the second time filing it in the same calendar year for that same child? Or, how did you file it? Did you file it properly? That type of thing. But that's something we can take offline, and I would love to get the bottom of it for you because that's what we do.
You
And
can
it's
certainly
important.
reach out to HR too. You can give us a call at the 464-3367 number and we can chase that down for you as well.
I would highly consider doing that. And we will get into the claims. So any others on this one?
Yeah, so somebody's asking, please explain pre-existing in regards to Aflac.
So pre-existing means if you sign up for a coverage and you had that condition prior, and this is for the critical illness, if you had that condition currently, not prior and currently, if you currently have that condition, that will not be a payable, the benefits won't be payable in that particular condition. So that could be, if you had just recently in that calendar year prior to you signing up had a heart attack, that would take heart attack off the board, but that doesn't mean that paralysis or kidney failure, organ transplant, any of the other features aren't. Those are coverable. So it just happens to be the one particular item that you've had going on currently within the 12-month prior window to you enrolling. Hopefully that explains it.
Okay, and then we have, does critical illness cover existing condition that was not diagnosed?
Correct. So it's a great question. If you are, it's pretty simple. If it wasn't diagnosed, then there's no diagnosis. Therefore, it's not pre-existing. Now, if you're on medication for that, it'd be hard to get diagnosed and have a doctor prescribe you medication for that particular situation. But I guess there probably are some situations where that may have happened. But if it's not diagnosed, then technically for us, it doesn't exist.
Okay, and then how do you file the wellness benefit? I've been covered for 2 or 3 years and never received a wellness benefit, but I think you're going to go over the filing the claims
Yeah, I'm
next.
going to go over it. And I do want to say this too. There's a lot of folks out there that probably, like me, forgot last year to file their wellness claim, whether it's for them or their child or their husband or wife. So understand this, Aflac's very good. There's really no time limit. So if you didn't do this for prior years, and I added an S to that word, if you haven't done this in prior years, and that goes for honestly any claim that you've had. So even if you spent time at the hospital last year and forgot to file that claim, you can still, as long as you get the explanation of benefits from the coordinated information from the doctor that says you're in the hospital, or have this wellness procedure done, got your triglycerides, or last year you didn't file your for wellness on your mammogram that you had, you can still file those. And I would encourage everybody to do that. I'm at a lot of benefit fairs, and that's almost 80% of the questions I get from folks is that I didn't file mine last year. I guess I missed the boat. That's not the case. So I would urge everybody, if you forgot about these benefits and you had them, or just simply missed the boat, or just forgot and ran out of time if you thought you did on these wellness benefits or any of the benefits, you can file it still. I will get into the claim piece in a second here. I'm going to skip to this. And if there's more questions, Chris and Natalie, just let me know. But these are the wellness screenings that are covered for all our plans. So you can see anywhere from the rudimentary annual physical to PSA tests, urinalysis. There's triglycerides on there, pap smears, ultrasounds, skin cancer screenings. Really covers a lot. And these are all attributable to the wellness benefits on any of the products. So it really covers a pretty full gambit.
Greg, I'm going to save the rest of the claim questions for after you cover that part, but there is still, can you explain about the once a year payout?
The once a year payout, I'm assuming you're referring to the wellness.
Yes, the wellness screening benefit.
No problem. Each of these products has a wellness. One of them we call it a health screening, but they're all the same. So for let's just say accident, there's a $25 wellness benefit. For critical illness, there's a $75. And for hospital indemnity, a $25. That's whether it's, if you select single coverage, meaning just you've got wellness, a $25 wellness benefit available to you on the accident if you sign up for accident. If you sign up for family on accident, family coverage, every person in your family, meaning your immediate, not your cousins and uncles and grandparents, but everybody, your children, your spouse, if you sign up for family coverage on any of these products, will get that wellness benefit payable to per person one time a year. So just to give you a bare bones example, I've got a wife and 2 kids. We have family coverage. If they all had one of these items on this box here on screen happen to them, let's just say we all got physicals that year, that would be $100, because you get 25 for me, 25 for my spouse, and 25 for each of my children. But that is one time a year. So if your child goes back and has a urinalysis done after they already got got $25 paid to them for an annual physical, that would not be payable. So it's one time per year per family member or per covered person. That
Okay,
should
and then
answer that question. Yeah.
okay, this is the last question I'm going to ask you before you go to the claims part. So if you had a heart attack and then the following year you have another heart attack again, would it be covered?
So if you're covered, so there's a 3-month window. It's called recurrence. So on your critical illness plan, there's a 3-month window. So if you're covered, have a heart attack. If you're covered right now, have a heart attack, and you get, let's say you chose $10,000 in coverage. Okay. So if you're covered right now today under the critical illness plan, you have a heart attack, $10,000 comes to you once you file that claim. Okay. And then you have a 3-month window. So if before 3 months and you have another heart attack, we won't pay the $10,000. If it's 3 months after that initial heart attack, that second heart attack is after 3 months past that initial heart attack, that would pay again. It's called recurrence. So basically, if you had a heart attack we won't pay $10,000 again until it's at least after 3 months. But that's all considering you being actually currently covered on the first heart attack. Just want to be clear about that.
That was
Okay.
the last question I'll ask if you want to go on to the claims.
Great. So pretty simple here. You can send in a paper form. You can go onto our app, or you can go onto our website. So our website is myaflac.com, and our app, if you want to look it up, and I put QR codes on here. I'm not sure you'll be able to draw it off your screen, but I do believe we're putting it on at the very least. You can get that from HR. So you can go to myaflac.com. You can plug in all your information. It's very simple. It'll ask you to download EOBs, which is an acronym for explanation of benefit, which is really just your doctor's notes as to diagnosis, what was treated, so forth and so on. Now, regular claim, this is where all these start. Again, you can do paper, which is probably not what most people do anymore, but the website or the app, you can file them on both, or one or the other. I wouldn't file them on both. I'd just do one or the other. But it's very simple. I will say this from a claim perspective, some claims involve more paperwork that we need to evaluate, particularly on the critical illness side of the fence. So we may actually, that person, our claim handler, will reach out, and actually in that event, we'll either just pay the claim outright because you filed it properly on myaflac.com and you had all the coordinated information that was necessary, and it's just easy peasy, and they'll approve it and send it off to you. For the ones that are a little more difficult, where our claim handlers need more background, more information, they will reach out to you and they will ask you and tell you what more information you need. A lot of times they'll actually go directly to the doctor with your permission to drag some of that information out of them, because sometimes hospitals and doctors they're not as good at getting you everything you need for claim payments and whatnot. And as far as the wellness goes, from filing the claims, wellness is about as easy as it gets. You just put the explanation of benefits on there for that physical that you had, and that'll be paid out within 2 to 3 days. So it's pretty simple. It's myaflac.com, or go to find the MyAflac app and have it ready to go. Hopefully that answered the claim questions.
We have
But
some more.
I'm all
Like
ears. Yeah.
How do you dispute a claim that was denied? Can you just submit additional documentation to have it reconsidered?
Right. So what'll happen, typically you're not going to get a flat out denial. Now you will, if it's like using critical illness as an example, or even accident. I'll use that. Like if it's not an accident, that'll probably be a quick denial. Most of the times what you'll get questions back to you that'll up to and including, hey, we need more information. Now, as far as if you get denied and you don't feel that it's accurate or appropriate or righteous, there is an appeal process. Well, we'll absolutely go through it again. It'll go up to a higher level of review. And then, to be fair and honest with you, at that point, I'll probably be involved myself. But even though I'm not a claims person, but there is an appeals process. So it's not just one and done if you get denied. And I would just encourage anybody, as I would encourage myself, if you feel you didn't get you got wrongly denied on a claim, that's absolutely something you should appeal, and you can appeal. So that's not difficult, and you can do that on the MyAflac app. But by then, understand you already have a contact within Aflac, that claim handler that you'll be corresponding with, so you can take escalated at that point with that person as well.
Okay, there's a question in here that says, what if you had a heart attack before you signed up?
Yeah, so we covered that a little bit earlier, but it's a good question regardless. So if you had a heart attack within the 12 months prior to the effective date, and then you had a heart attack after the effective date, you would have to have been treatment free for 12 months for that first heart attack. So that would be considered a pre-existing condition. Now, if you had the heart attack 12 months, longer than 12 months prior to you signing up, or 2 years, 3 years, 13 months, and weren't on medication for that, ongoing medication or ongoing treatment, and you were basically 12 months treatment free for that heart attack, you had a heart attack in the first year being covered, first month, that would be payable, because you haven't, that heart attack and the treatment thereof is 12 months removed from when you signed up for the coverage.
Okay, and then does our annual biometric screening satisfy the wellness to receive the $25 each year?
It does. It does. In fact, that's actually where many of my clients actually have, I'm assuming you guys have this, but the biometric screenings on site and whatnot. So that is absolutely where you can literally be done the biometric screening, take that page or whatever they give you, go to the myaflac.com website and file your claim that day. 2 to 3 days later, you'll have your wellness benefit paid to you.
So far, that's all the questions.
Okay. Well, I would offer this, Natalie and Chris, if there's more that pop up, I could certainly stay on. But if there's more that pop up, and you want to put it in one big email to me, I'll get with answering them and bringing them back to you in bulk.
Okay, well, there's another one. Maybe we'll just sit for a few minutes and let them
Sure.
ask you. If you have multiple screening, mammogram, biometrics, do you get for each or only one?
No, it's just one. It's just one. It's a one and done. I'd love it to be more, but it's to keep the prices affordable. And it's kind of a standard in these supplemental health products, in this business, if you will, this space, to have it be a one and done. So really, the way I think about it, folks, is when you're looking at these prices, I'll use accident, for example. If you're looking at the accident for family coverage and you're saying, oh, this is $100 or $200 a year, maybe that's a little too hitting your pocket too much. Just remember also, if it's family coverage for $200 a year and you're going to have 2 or all 4 of your family members, get an annual physical or have that mammogram, you're looking at really $100 paid back to you. So really that $200 premium spend actually becomes, in that example, becomes $100. So really that's when I look at these, any benefits, but certainly with the wellness stuff, I kind of look at it as, all right, that's coming back to me because I'm going to be a good steward of my health, and be proactive and get that mammogram or get that PSA test or get that annual physical. So if you think about it in those terms, the paycheck cost will be less if you utilize the wellness benefits. But back to the question at hand, it's one time per person per year. So if you had 3, I'll give you a classic example. If you got a mammogram and a pap smear, that doesn't pay you twice. It's just, you'll get one. So that would be $25, not $50. But then the next year it resets, so that's annual.
Okay, and then we had a question, can you share this recording? We will be sharing that. Natalie, do you know where we post those? I know it's on our A to Z guide, maybe under wellness
It will
activity.
be posted on the annual enrollment webpage.
Perfect. Okay, and then who can we contact for further questions? You can reach out to us in HR. Again, on that A to Z guide under A, Aflac's phone number is on there, where you can reach out to their customer service. And then we have, is there a way to see if you filed the wellness benefit claim? When I'm looking in my account, I don't see where I've submitted wellness benefit claims.
Should be shown, if you're on myaflac.com, you should be seeing where it actually exists you absolutely should. I'll tell you what though, I'm not on that the app or the site much these days, certainly not repetitively, but I will double check. But you should absolutely see that on there as with a checkbox that you had actually filed it. It's very possible. Maybe you did not hit save or send. I don't know, but I'll dig into that a little bit. But it should absolutely tell you that you've filed it.
Okay, and then, but if you have more than one plan, you can get the wellness reward under each plan. Not sure if that is, I think that's just a statement. Okay.
Correct.
All three plans pay each family member $125 per year.
Oh, from a total wellness perspective, yes. So if you had all three coverages, you would get yes, it's 25, 25, and 75. So that math works out, yes. You don't just get access, just to be very clear, if I had all three coverages or two, but let's just say three for these purposes. If I file an accident claim, wellness claim, I get the $25. I can also file that for the other products.
Okay, and then somebody wants to know if you have a contact or phone number that you can reach out to help for a claim, maybe the Aflac customer service number.
So I'll put that out to you guys, and then you could put it on the web. That would be good to have on the actual website
Okay.
or on the enrollment site.
Okay, and that was the last question.
Well, thank you for having me.
You guys, thank you so much. Thank you for attending, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. So on that A to Z guide under A, annual enrollment, if you click on that, you will be able to see this. I would give it maybe a week or so. And you all have a good day. I'm going to stop the recording.